Welcome to the H2Know Podcast, where we take you beyond the headlines and into the heart of Hamilton Community Schools. From classroom innovation and career pathways to success stories and community connections, this is your inside look at what makes Hamilton shine. Here's your host, Zach Harry.
Hello, Hamilton community. Welcome back into the H2Know Podcast. And if you're new to this and new to listening, this is where we take a deep dive into the different programs, offerings, and people even that make Hamilton Community Schools what it is and so special. One of the many questions we get most, I feel, is Hamilton Virtual School and what it is. So that's why we have HVS Principal Mary Wilkinson on today's episode to talk about Hamilton Virtual programming and what it is, because truthfully, year 4 into the role, still a lot for me to learn. So I will be learning today as well. But Mary, thanks for being on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And likewise, I'm 4 years into the role and I'm still learning. Things change a lot in education, as you know, so there's always new things to learn.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better. Let's dive in. So I think the biggest misconception is when people hear virtual school, they think kids are at home on their computer sitting there, which is certainly an option. But what is Hamilton Virtual School? I know that's a loaded question and we could go on for 20 minutes and we'll dive into some of that. But how would you try to describe it in its simplest form?
In the simplest form, I would say, we are a school in the Hamilton Community School District. We service about 1,300 full-time and part-time students combined. We provide a lot of real-world hands-on experiences, so there is a lot of offline learning, and I think that's what makes us unique and diverse that way.
And that's interesting too, because again, when you hear virtual school, you don't think of hands-on learning. What kind of students are you seeing most? I mean, is it just the kids that typically wouldn't fit into a traditional seating for whatever reason? Is it students who thrive better online, or is it just all across the board?
I mean, with 1,300 students, it really is all across the board. Sometimes it's the flexibility. Sometimes it's the learning options that we offer. So if you have a family that's going to go on a mission trip for a month, they can take their Chromebooks with them and they can still do their online learning and be gone away from school for a lengthy period. And then it really is across the board. There are some students that really they thrive more in a virtual learning. They learn better that way. There's a little bit of everything. We have our primary demographic is the homeschool student. So the state says that they can only take electives. So we offer them electives and that's what they can get from us. And that is the primary, the classes that we offer are electives, but we do have a lot of full-time options.
And right now, Hamilton Virtual School is housed at Sandy View Learning Center.
Correct.
And that will be shifting in the 2026-27 school year to the former Hamilton Christian Reformed Church, which is now a Hamilton Community Schools property. So what people need to understand there is you have a building, you are seeing students face-to-face. What does that look like as far as the face-to-face interaction with teachers, not just sitting at home on a computer again, like we keep saying?
Right. So, we're excited. We're getting a new building. We continue to grow, and as such, just the necessity for it. And so it's very exciting to have the space and just to be able to grow the program in our own space instead of a shared space. We are kind of used to sharing with the middle school or sharing with the high school, and now we're sharing with preschool, which understandably so. We are a virtual program, but as we grow those, like you said, the face-to-face components, we need more space. And so that's a good thing. So even right now at Sandy View, we have classes that we offer in person as an optional component for our online learners. So what that is you can come in and you can take a face-to-face class for art, music, PE, those types of things at Sandy View.
Interesting. Okay. So Tuesday and Thursdays, right?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Thursday are typically the full-time students that come in for those. The state calls them extended learning opportunities. So they're just optional components that go along or tied to their virtual learning.
When we say full-time, what does that mean? What is a full-time virtual student?
Right. So we kind of have 3 different categories of a full-time virtual student. One being fully virtual, 100%. We assign you a district Chromebook and you are at home or wherever your learning environment is. plugging away on those courses, typically 4 core and 2 electives. And we provide you with a mentor. You're expected to get in and make like daily progress on your learning goals. And as you're working away, we connect with you and your parent or guardian on a weekly basis to kind of check in, make sure you're supported, you're learning. And in addition to that, we partner with basically like there needs to be a learning coach in the
Sure.
home. So when you're fully virtual and you're not here for us to kind of encourage you face to face, it makes a big difference. So the learning coach in the home, the parent, the guardian, or whomever is a big part of that partnership.
And then there are 2 others. Let's dive into that. What is the middle tier option, or kind of the blended, if you will?
Sure. So we're calling it like a modified virtual student. So that's basically where you still have your 4 core classes that you're doing online, but in addition to that, you get those extended learning opportunities, which can be face-to-face options for the electives. So that would be the student that's coming to our campus to receive art, music. We do musical theater, we have choir, all kinds of those optional components that will go with their online learning. They could do it also in the community. So we have something called project-based learning, which I won't dive into right this second, but that's where you take a class in the community. Like, so you could do a PBL with us, project-based learning with us for PE, and then you could go to Hamilton Karate once a week as your extended learning opportunity, or that sort of like hands-on application of your online learning.
And then there's a third option, and
There is
that
a third option.
coming in.
Right. A third option kind of combines all of the above. The difference being that those extended learning opportunities that are optional include core components. So you would come in for English, math, science, social studies, that kind of thing. We do have a K-8 and a 9-12, some 9-12 options. So for like English, science, social studies, that type of thing for secondary. For elementary, we provide, in addition to like core concepts, also interventions, support, pacing, guidance in that. And you can stay in the afternoon for electives. So it's kind of a little mix of both, I guess.
So again, I guess in my head, over the past several years, I think, okay, kids are coming on campus and they're just sitting in a room by themselves, but there are teachers that play a pivotal role in this.
Yeah, we
Talk
have an
about
amazing staff.
your educators and your staff at HVS.
Right. So like I said, we have an amazing staff. They go above and beyond to make the kids feel very welcome and supported. We meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
And in addition to, if we're talking about the full-time kids, right, we're assessing them to see if they need interventions. How can we support them? How can we help them along their educational journey? In addition to that, I would say some of the draw is that we have a literature-based program so that, like you said, students are not sitting in front of a Chromebook all day. They have paper and pencil to write with, and they're doing phonics and spelling and math facts, geography, mapping, and they're doing science experiments on campus so that they're learning about the science a little bit, and then they get some group activity for experiments to basically make observations and collect data, so they can work on experiments together in a collaborative effort to conduct the experiment, make observations, collect data, analyze the data, and really just have like that sort of tactile, hands-on with science experiments that you wouldn't get if you're just at home by yourself.
When we talk about the hybrid option, there's a lot of support there. You talked about interventions, different things like that. What does that look like, and what do you guys offer as far as that goes?
We do some like benchmark assessments to see where the student's at, where should they be at, and in relation to peers their age, and then how can we help them get there. So a lot of that could be those interventions for reading and phonics type stuff. We do a lot of that so that students don't have to worry about where they're at. We take them in and we try to do our best to get them caught up. We've seen a lot of success with that for sure. We also do those virtually. So if you are maybe, one of those modified students or 100% virtual, we do interventions virtually. It's not as easy, obviously, especially if you're a young child trying to keep them engaged on a screen, but we do a pretty good job with that. There's some technology that helps with that. So, to keep them engaged, that kind of thing. But for on campus, and off campus virtually too, we still provide like special education support and that kind of thing if they're eligible. So that's, that is not a deterrent, basically.
If you're just joining us here on the H2Know Podcast, we're with Mary Wilkinson, the Hamilton Virtual School Principal, talking about HVS and some of those misconceptions. And I think there's a lot of people in the community still that don't really understand. This program is booming extremely quickly. There's a wait list for part-time students. And that's why we're touching on a lot of full-time misconceptions and really trying to ramp up for full-time students, because part-time, again, is on a wait list. What has this success of the program looked like over the past 4 years that you've been here and that I've been here? What has it looked like, and what are some of those success stories?
Well, I would say about a year after I came on, so like you, 4 years in, we launched a pilot program for a literature-based program within Hamilton Virtual, where we offered some hybrid options, like I just said, where we're giving them the option to come in for some English, math, science, social studies enrichments to go with the online pieces. And we've seen a lot of success there as families want the curriculum, they want the support, they know that maybe their student is struggling with reading, so they want interventions. They want the community. We have a great community on campus, so it's not just academics, though that is very important. We take field trips together. We do musicals together. There's this year, the high school kids, or I should say 612, is doing Willy Wonka Jr., and the K5 is doing Lion King Jr., and it's just fun. We have a choir, an elementary choir.
And you use the high school auditorium, correct?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
Those performances are done at the high school auditorium. There's a lot of people that show up, so it's really supported by the community. And so we offer those types of things. I think that, the staff just make it, they're just amazing. We pull off so many different things, and they create so many special experiences for students for those community pieces. And like we did the turkey trot for a fundraiser for charity, and
Mr. Annis and the inflatable turkey.
Yes,
outfit. That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
yes.
he's a trooper for sure. I never know what he's going to come up with.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we have like market days where the kids create things, and then, the choir sings at special occasions, and sometimes they go for service projects to the elderly home or that kind of thing. So you get a lot of flexibility, but you also get a little bit of that traditional, I guess, schooling experience.
And listen, it's not, I feel, and maybe this is just me personally, but we're not naive. There's been a big push for homeschooling, particularly in West Michigan, right? So as a school district, you need to recognize that and see what you can do to help those families. And that's where not everybody, but a lot of your families want that support, like you touched on. So how do you kind of meet families where they're at, as far as we want to homeschool, but we also want the social component? That's a huge piece for kids. Rather than just being home by themselves or with a sibling all day, they're actually getting the social interaction.
Right. Yeah. I'm a formerly homeschool mom myself, and have successfully, graduated 3 of my children, and 2 of them are in college right now. So I think with building the whole program, it was kind of with that frame of mind, right? The homeschool family. We've got a homeschool family with 5 kids, and they could use some support. And so providing a curriculum that they would feel beneficial, so they don't necessarily want their child being online 6 hours a day. But if you give them those opportunities to be offline and have real handwriting, real books to read, real science experiments, that type of thing, is kind of, I think, the biggest piece, is that they want the curriculum, and some of them, what they want the campus pieces. But we have a lot of students that are just 100% virtual that also like the electives that are like that, either the KIT classes or those PBL things, and they don't come to our campus. I guess that would be the modified virtual,
and that's what I want you to touch on next. Actually, that was a great segue. That's what the kits can be hard to understand for some people. What are kits? And you touched on project-based learning, PBLs. Touch on those 2 things a little bit.
Sure. Well, the project-based learning, the PBL, is essentially a course that we offer through like art, music, PE, outdoor rec, ag science, that kind of thing, where the student has an online class, PBL, music, art, PE, like I said, and they're working on a project that's directed by a driving question. So they have some sort of question or problem they're trying to solve, or a real world experience that they're trying to create. And I guess the difference being, it's not something that you can just Google. So it's not like, for instance, how does does my brain benefit from exercise? Yes. Like that's not really a driving question, but maybe it's how does my brain benefit from exercise and how can I tell others about it or how can I show? And so like your focus is that driving question as you're gathering, sort resources and artifacts and creating some sort of tangible product in the end. And our teachers are guiding that through the modules, and they give a lot of feedback about, like, if you were to say, does my brain benefit from exercise? They might help you. Like, that's a great start. Let's see how we can expand on that to make it more of what we call open-ended, right? So it's not something that you can just Google it and, the 5 ways of that my brain, benefits from exercise, and you're done. There's a project that's created. Sometimes it's like if your driving question has something to do with the musical instruments, we've had students create musical instruments, legitimate ones,
Yeah.
not just a, oatmeal box with a
Yeah.
with a spoon or something. Sometimes it's a PowerPoint presentation about their learning, a video, a book. It could be for younger children, especially like posters and drawings, and where then they're explaining their learning, that type of thing. So that's kind of the project-based learning. And then if you do the online classes, the project-based learning class, we also provide you with those extended learning opportunities, which is the optional. Like if you're doing a PE one, you could then go once, twice a week. I'm not really sure, but you could go to Hamilton Karate. You could go to gymnastics or dance, so we have those. Those are the community ones. So those are not on our campus. Those are the community experts that provide just a valuable resource there of education for the students for their real world hands-on experience for what they're learning.
So along those lines, that would be like Outdoor Discovery Center, scrapyard climbing. When I was talking to you last week and you said scrapyard climbing, my ears perked up. I was like, that's very interesting. So some of those things, right?
Yep.
Where does that kind of fit in? Outdoor Discovery Center and things like that.
Yeah,
Just
so those are basically applications to your learning. They're optional components. You could take a PBL without doing any of those pieces. Honestly, our families are taking the PBL so they can have those experiences. So for instance, my daughter did scrapyard climbing. So that one was near and dear to my heart, where her PE PBL, the driving question, I mean, she's only first grade, right? So it's not too lofty, but it was like, how can I stay safe while I'm climbing? And she interviewed the instructor at Scrapyard. We did a lot of reading, and she, in the end, created an entire book of different ways that she could stay safe while climbing. And then as the final presentation, read through the book and that she had written and illustrated. So that was her final project for her project-based learning for her to climb at Scrapyard.
And these students can have opportunities, full-time students, I should mention, dual enrollment, advanced placement, AP classes,
Right.
Careerline Tech Center.
Tech Center, yeah, that's a big one.
So this isn't like you're off on an island at Hamilton Virtual. I mean, there
No.
are a lot of real opportunities for these kids.
There are a lot of opportunities. It's very, like I said, flexible. It's
Yeah.
personalized education, really. What is your student really interested in? We're not going to make them do PE or band. They could do something completely different. They could do robotics. There's those, like I said, that we talked about the kits real quick, which is where you receive a kit of some sort. Let's say it's build your own computer, where you're learning to build a computer, learning to code, and the online teaching it and facilitating your learning, but you have tangible pieces that you're working on outside of that.
When families call Hamilton Virtual School or reach out to you, what are some of the biggest questions they have, just as far as frequently asked questions and things that we can answer on today's podcast?
A lot of it is about the wait list.
Yeah.
Where are they at on the wait list?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And so we try to communicate that. It's basically the state limits how big we can get every year. And so we do have a wait list. I know a lot of the programs like ours have wait lists. As far as the full-time, I would say some of it is about hybrid. So the format being Tuesday, Thursday, 8 a.m. to 11:30 for those optional core components. Then Then the homeschool joins us at like 11:30, 11:45, and then we dive into some of those electives that we were talking about. Sometimes they're for the little kids, they're Lego classes or they're art classes or they love PE, that kind of stuff. So we do a lot in that sort of category. Let's see, other questions. Can they add a community expert? So we have a vetting process for background checks, everybody's background check, just like a regular teacher. And they have a full list of paperwork to do. And so that we can vet those experiences as a community expert.
Something we touched on at the beginning of the episode, a new building in
Yes.
2026, 27. It's centrally located in the district, close to everything. I mean, you have to be pretty excited about having your own space rather than the portables a couple of years ago by the middle school.
In the pool room, which took 5 minutes to get there.
Sandy View Learning Center with Hawkeye Preschool, which I know you guys made the most out of. But
Sandy View is a great location,
Yeah.
A great place and facility. It just didn't have enough rooms for what we do
Yeah.
for a K-12 program.
as you keep growing,
Yeah.
how excited are you for this new building and where you can go?
I mean, I'm very excited about it. I'm already like, okay, we can offer classes on, Mondays now too. And
Yeah.
then we have some, programming we would like to include and expand on, like something called Gone Boarding, which students can make, a skateboard, a surfboard, those kinds of things. And they're doing design for it and cutting it out and sanding it and all those kinds of things. So there's a lot more maybe more like a workshop kind of thing. There's just a lot of other opportunities when you have your own space and can just have more options. And it's, like you said, it's more centrally located for Hamilton and Allegan and the surrounding area.
And again, if you're driving by, you will see a lot of construction ongoing. We did an episode about that with Dr. Brad Lusk, our superintendent. So you can go back and listen to that H2Know podcast episode. A lot of fun there. Let's talk about enrollment. I know we get a lot of phone calls here at the administration office about Hamilton Virtual School, and I'll get emails about Hamilton Virtual School.
Right.
How can people reach out to you directly or HVS and start enrolling?
Sure. Well, hamiltonschools.us will get you to our webpage, and then on the district webpage, go to this top bar for schools, and there's a drop down for virtual school, which will take you directly to our website. On the side, there's my name, Mary Wilkinson, and email, and the secretary. There's a couple different secretaries, that type of thing. So there's email, there's phone number for Sandy View Learning Center. It'll all get to me eventually. So there's that. We are getting close to the school of choice window. So we've had a lot of people reaching out.
May 7th.
Yeah.
May 7th. That
To
opens
June
up.
6th, I think.
Yeah, I
something
believe
like
so.
that.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big deal. It's just much easier than
You have a lot of school of choice kids. Yes.
Yeah, we do. We are
Yes.
definitely a district of choice, I think, and a program of choice. So that's exciting. We have people that drive in from all over the place for the community campus pieces. So, maybe they're only in one day a week, but they've driven 45 minutes to get there. So yeah, it's exciting, and it'll be very exciting to have the building up and running and just kind of grow it.
Last thing for you before we sign off. I want to know from you how much pride you take in Hamilton Virtual School. What, and I know you don't want the credit, but what you've created, and just how many strides forward this program has taken under your leadership and where it's going in the future. How excited are you? And
I'm very excited. And I appreciate the sentiment. I could not do any of this without the staff. I mean, the staff is just amazing. And when I first started, it was like drinking from a fire hose. It's kind of a beast in a way. There's a lot to it. And, I feel very supported by the administration. And as we continue to grow, adding more staff, we added a high school counselor, like a student counselor. We added a school psychologist. Like I said, we've got special education, counseling services, and all that kind of stuff at our building, speech therapy, that kind of thing. So we just continue to add more and more staff and feeling the love and the support from the district, and they have a building. It's the virtual school building.
Yeah.
It is Hamilton Virtual School.
Yes.
So, and the signs are going up soon.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is exciting, and we're excited to work and have it grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you're doing a great job, and I hope your educators and staff know how much they're appreciated by the community and the district as well. Hamilton Virtual School, it doesn't get the attention nor the marketing that it deserves, and that's fully on this guy here. But excited to have you guys right down the road. Excited to definitely get the word out more on Hamilton Virtual School in the future and keep growing. I mean, this is exciting stuff for the district and for your program. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Zach. It's good to be here.
Again, Hamilton Schools, under the Schools tab, look for Hamilton Virtual School. You can find Mary's email and a phone number, which will be active through June. And then we'll get a new phone number, I'm sure, over at the new building. Thanks for watching, Hamilton community. This is the H2Know Podcast. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Have a great day.